Hi, I'm Robert with The Driven Man, and this is our E-type 5-speed kit. So people ask, what makes this the best kit on the market? Several things. One, it's actually a patented kit. It's the only kit out there for the E-type that is patented, and it is patented because from the back of its original style prop shaft flange to the face of the bell housing where it meets the block, it's actually the same length as the 4-speed in its bell housing. So we were able to do that by having our own custom-made brand new tail housing, which of course involved changing a lot of internal parts and a new shifter mechanism and several other things to make a compact 5-speed gearbox that actually fits in an E-type. So no matter what your E-type you have, the shift lever's in the original position. You don't cut your floors. You don't have to cut anything. Now, some other unique features about it. I had mentioned that this is the original style flange in the back. This is bolted onto the gearbox just like on the 4-speed. And since it's the same length as the 4-speed, if you have a short wheelbase E-type, so be any 3.8 or a coupe or roadster 4.2, you can reuse your original prop shaft. The 12-cylinder cars actually had a shift lever position that was the same, but the transmission was longer. It stuck out past the shift lever in all the long wheelbase cars, the 2+2 6-cylinders and all the V12s. So with those, you need a new prop shaft, but we sell those also. Another unique feature about our gearbox is it actually uses the original E-type right angle style drive speedometer setup. So you can keep your same cable, your speedometer will read the same, and the right angle gear threads right into the gearbox. Another cool feature that is distinct in ours, the input shaft. Same specification as the original Jag, so you can reuse your original clutch disc, and it uses a Jaguar spec pilot bearing. So going back to the clutches, we use the 9.5-inch diaphragm clutch in our kits, and that's what came out in the 4.2 E-type. Most restoration shops will use a 4.2 style clutch, even if it is a 3.8, so it's a good choice. It gives you a strong clutch, much smoother operation, but due to the design of the 5-speed and the bell housing, you have to use the 9.5-inch diaphragm clutch with our 5-speed. So recap, the original flange, reuse your speedometer drive, shift lever in the correct position. The shift lever clones the 4.2 E-type or V12, and you can reuse your original Jaguar clutch, but of course if you have it out, put in a new Jaguar spec clutch. Now the bell housings that attach all of this to the engine, we have them one for the 3.8, for the 4.2, and for the V12. The 3.8 and the 4.2, very similar bell housings. The starter bolt holes and starter bolt hole position slightly different, so we do have a distinct bell for each engine. The V12 bell is actually something we developed several years ago for the XJS kit. Now with the XJS, we didn't bother to try to make a provision for a clutch fork and mechanical release bearing the way that the E-types had. So when we took this and made it fit the E-type engine, we just went ahead and went with a modern style hydraulic release bearing. So if you order a V12 kit, you will get a modern release bearing. So this is the type of bearing that slides up on the input shaft of the transmission, and the bearing moves forward, engages the clutch or disengages the clutch, and gives you a very smooth pedal, and it is a far superior design to the rather archaic carbon style discs that Jaguar used in all the E-types. Now, speaking of the V12s and the different models, there are a couple of other things that are different from one Jag model to the next. The short wheelbase cars, the coupes and the roadsters, use this support plate, and the long wheelbase cars, the 2+2s and the 6-cylinder or any of the V12 cars, get a different support plate. But basically going to be the same group of parts and the same gearbox. Another thing on the gearbox, the gear ratios, first through fourth, we picked the same ratios that Jag used in the all-synchro 4-speed box. So that's what came out in the 4.2 E-type and later used in the V12 E-type. Very good ratio set for the E-type. It'll give a customer with the 3.8 and the old Moss box a much more user-friendly set of gears, even on first through fourth. You have to remember the old Moss box was actually designed to go behind the overhead valve engine. Less power, lower revving. The all-synchro box and our 5-speed box designed specifically with the XK in mind. So fantastic shift qualities, great gear ratios, and then you have fifth gear on top of all of that. So with fifth, you have the choice of 3 different ratios. A 0.80, which means it'll drop at 20% when you shift from fourth, fourth being 1 to 1. So 80% of 1 to 1, you're losing 20%. 20% drop in revs. That's good for maybe a road rally car, or if you're going to do a lot of mountain driving, or if you have maybe a 307 rear end, a very tall rear end ratio in a 6-cylinder car. The vast majority of our customers will end up with a 0.73 fifth gear. So that is a 27% drop in revs. That will work with any E-type, any engine, any rear end ratio. It's when in doubt, go the 0.73. You'll have great engine manners, any gear, any speed. Then our most aggressive overdrive is a 0.63, which means it actually drops the revs by 37%. So if you have a car where you're going to be doing a lot of highway driving, 6-cylinder E-type with a 354 can live all day long with that 0.63. A V12 with a 331 or 354 rear end, very good combination for that too. So how does that translate into speeds? The 0.63 and a 354 rear end, you're looking at 70 miles an hour at about 1750, 1900 RPM. The 0.73 could be about 2200 RPM, and the 0.80 would give you about 2700 RPM with a 354 rear end. But simply put, drive your car, look at where the RPMs are right now, and drop 20%, 27%, or 37%. And that will tell you what the 5-speed will do in your car. Now, when you're dropping the RPMs, it's not just the exhaust note. You're dropping all the mechanical noise, your engine's going to run cooler, it's going to last longer, all the original bits of your car will last longer. It makes it where you can drive comfortably at 70, 80 miles an hour all day long on the highway. Your engine is in its sweet spot, it's getting good fuel economy, and just makes it a much more enjoyable experience. And I grew up around old Jags. There are a lot of things about them that are wonderful, some great characteristics. This doesn't take any of that away. It just gives you a better gear for the road. Other ancillary parts, what makes it a kit? So what we call our basic kit is everything you need to take your E-type from having a 4-speed to having a 5-speed. Now that means being able to reuse your original clutch with a 4.2. Remember, 3.8 guys, you still have to buy that 4.2 clutch, but you're also going to get all the miscellaneous hardware to put it in there, the wiring to make the backup light works, of course the transmission mount. Remember, you'll be reusing your original speedometer cable, and it's simple. That's what our basic kit is. You can always order a new clutch if you want, a new flywheel. It's a great time to do that. And prop shaft, if your original prop shaft has been damaged, we make the original short wheelbase prop shafts in addition to the long wheelbase prop shafts that I've already mentioned. So that is what you get. You get something where you don't cut your car. It looks bone stock when you're looking into the cockpit. Gives you fantastic gearing. It will shift as quickly as you can pull the lever, and when you hit the highway, the RPMs are down at a very livable, modern way. Really brings the life and enjoyment into driving your E-type. Thank you.